What's going on, guys? Today we are going to talk about, I don't even know what I just said. Today we're going to talk about creating a route to get a specific to-do by its ID. We're going to be testing it with Mocha and with Postman, and we're going to be deploying it on Heroku. So let's get on to the video. So we're going to be looking at how to get the parameters of a URL. So when we get a specific UI, or when we want to get a specific to-do, well, the way we're going to get it is by the ID of that to-do. And the user is going to actually be sending that ID to us, right? And we're going to be talking about how to actually get those, the user parameters, all right? So we are going to create another route. So app.get is going to be a get route. And it's going to be the same thing as up there, but the only difference is to-do / to-dos. The only difference is right here, we're going to add on / ID. And this is going to be sent in by the user, and I will explain that in a bit. But the rest is going to be the same. Res and we are going to log out rec, and the way we get this the parameter ID is by the request they're making, right? Because they're making the request with that ID in there. So request dot params, and then I'm gonna just leave it like that for now. I'm gonna explain it in a bit. So if you control save this, and we're gonna run it right now. So node server / server JS JS. We run that. All right, I'm gonna open up Postman. Let's get rid of that. Get rid of that. Right here, this one. See, right now we're used to seeing / to-dos. If we get this, we should get all of our data back. But if we actually want a specific to-do, we are going to have to send this ID in. But the way we do that is the user is going to send it in. So 1 2 3, send that, and you see over here the ID is 1 2 3. So we actually grab the ID by the request parameters, and it gives us an object back with the parameters it has. So we can actually tack on more. So like cat and dog. If you control save that, I'm gonna actually restart this. We go back to Postman, and we're gonna add in some more things, as in I'm gonna say dog first and then cat. We hit enter. We get right here cat as dog and dog as cat. Why do I have that open? Right here. So we get the parameter cat, the property cat with the value dog. That's because we sent that in over here. It goes in orders, guys. It does go in order. So we get 1 2 3 for the ID, dog as cat, and we get cat as dog, as you see. God damn it, as you see right here. So this is the way we get parameters from the user, and we're going to be using this method to actually grab the ID from the user. And I'm actually going to save this as var ID equals rec.params, and I don't want all the parameters, I just want the ID. Now from here, we're gonna actually have to test if it's a valid ID. Okay, MongoDB has valid IDs, guys. I'm gonna open up, well, I grab it right here. I'm gonna grab it. I'm gonna get all of them actually. I'm gonna just grab this right here. I'm gonna delete all this, and I'm gonna show you right now. As you can see right now, MongoDB does create these IDs for us, okay? And they have a specific number of bytes into it. And if we add more than, like, it finishes with 492. If we add in a couple of more zeros after that, it's going to be an invalid ID. And and Mongo knows this, okay? Because it's its own, it created it, all right? So it knows what it how many bits there is in an ID. So if we tack in more zeros or no more numbers and letters, it's going to say, hey, it's going to throw an error saying, hey, this is not an ID that I created. So we actually have to validate that ID. And the way we do that is up here. I already have it. We're going to have to get this object ID from the MongoDB module. Okay. So just add that in. And down here, we're going to make sure it is valid. If it's not valid, we're going to do object is valid dot is valid, and we're going to check for ID. So we're saying that if object ID is not valid because of this not. So if object ID is not valid and we're checking the ID, then we're going to return res.status. We're going to send a status of 400, and we're going to just send it out. We're going to send nothing out. Now that we have checked that, we're going to actually go into the database and try to grab the ID. Okay, so todo.find, and we're going to explore another way of doing a find. We're going to do find by ID, and this is going to return not an array but a doc back. It's going to return an object of the the document that you wanted. Okay, not an array. It's going to be a doc. This is very different because an array, if it doesn't find one, it's going to come back as an empty array. So you're going to have to check for an empty array instead of if it doesn't come back, it's going to give you just null. Okay, that's the difference, and you'll see in a bit why I'm saying this. So find by ID, and we pass it in ID because we want to find by that ID. And then once that's done, we're going to do .then to do. It's going to return back a to do. And in here, we're going to say if there's no to do. Now remember, it returns back a null since it's returning if there's no to do, meaning there is not a to do. Like I said, guys, before, it returns back an object, and if it doesn't have an object with the ID, it's going to return back a null. Now if we did an array like find, we could have done it this way: find this where ID where I underscore ID is ID, like this. We could have done it this way, but the thing is, this is going to return an array back. Okay, and then right here we would have had to said to do, and we're gonna have to get the first element, or dot length. Sorry, if to do dot length equals 0, that means there's nothing in there. But we don't want it. We want to simplify our life, so I'm gonna just go back to like this. If there's no to do, then we're gonna return a res dot status 404, and we're gonna send nothing back. Now that that's done, if there is something, sorry, not right there. If there is something though, we're gonna res dot send the to do. All right, now that we have that, we're gonna actually catch it. If there's an error, we're gonna catch it. If there's an error, cache the error, and we're gonna res status 400, and we're gonna send nothing. Now this should be all of it. Okay, this should actually just be all of it now. Control save that. Now if we actually try it, I'm actually restart it right here. I'm gonna grab to do's. I'm gonna grab an array or an object 980, which is this one, which should return first test to do. I'm gonna tack it on right here. Send, and we do get an object back. Okay. Now people do this most of the time. As you saw, it does return an object back, but people add, where is it at? Right here. They actually wrap this inside in an object like this, and you'll see in the why in a bit. I'm gonna actually restart this one more time. because it gives an object of an object, and this is actually more scalable, and this is why people actually do it more often like this, okay? Because it gives us back an object that has the to do in here, and then we could do more things with it. But I'm gonna just leave it back the way it was. Control save. Now that we have that in place, we're gonna actually test this with Mocha. So back in our server or test folder, server.test.js. So in here we can set up our test, but before we do that, we're gonna be using this seeded ID, and since we're gonna be grabbing by ID, we need to give these seeded data IDs. But not just any ID, we need to give it Mongoose object ID or MongoDB's object ID. The way we do that is we're going to require object ID from the module MongoDB. So const object ID equals require MongoDB. Now we could use it down here to create a new ID. So underscore ID colon new object ID and comma. I'm gonna just grab this, copy that, put it right here as well. All right, now that we gave it IDs down here, we're gonna create a new describe block. Okay, we need to keep our testing units organized. So I'm gonna put get /todos /:ID, so that way we know where it came from. And now we're gonna create our unit. So it should return to do doc by ID. This should be nothing new to you. Now it should be muscle memory from now on. I think I already said that. I'm not too sure. All right, in here we're gonna test it out. So we're gonna request the app. We're gonna get, and this is where it's gonna get tricky. We're gonna use template strings. So use the ticks. We're gonna get /todo / and then we're gonna have to actually put in a ID in here. This is why we created our IDs up here. We're gonna get it from the array up above. So we're gonna get todos, the first element. It doesn't really matter which element, the first one or the second one. We're gonna get ._ID, and since it's an object ID, we do need to create it. Turn it into a string. The way we do that with object IDs is to hex string. And then we're gonna expect the status to be 200. We're also going to expect from the body, so we need to do that. Expect response. We're gonna expect res.body.text.tobe. So we're gonna expect the text from that to be the text from the array up above here. So we're gonna have to be tobe todos 0.text. I will explain what's going on in a bit. And then we're going to end it right here, .end. Done. Passing in done. All right, let me explain. So this part should be pretty simple up until here. So remember, we're testing the route that has a parameter in there, but since we don't really have parameters, we're going to be testing, that's why we created the ID. We're going to be testing the seeded objects, okay? So we're going to get the ID from up above. That's why we created it. We're going to expect a 200 status code being sent. And once we get the body back, oh boy, that would have been an error. Once we get the body back, we expect the body, since we did the first one, we expect the body's text to be the first array's element text, which is this up here. We expect it to be this. Now we control save this and run it over here. We should get all passing values, but we get a failing. The reason why is because we expected 200 and we got a 404. Where did that 404 come from? Let me go back here. We got a 404 right here. That's because we didn't find that ID. Let me see. I do see the problem. The problem is right here. We didn't add an S. Now we do that. We should get. We still don't get it. Let me see why. Hold on. Okay, I understand what's going on now. We got the error. Cannot read property text of undefined. That's because it's not passed in as a to do right now. The reason why. Let's go back to and let's actually give it an actual one so I can show you what's going on. This is an actual one. I'm not too sure. Let me see. Get all. I'm just grab all. I'm gonna show you what's happening. All right. And then let me get this first ID. Copy that. Paste it in here. All right. You see right now the body isn't to. We don't have to do's in here. That's because over here in the back under server. Over here we didn't have. Where is it at? Oh, in the server.js right here. We just sent it in as an object, but to get rid of that, we just need to send it in as. We just sent it in as the object, but to get rid of that, we're gonna just put the curly braces around that. Control save. Restarting it, and you see that we get it right here. But if we go back here, send it again. Let me just restart a node. Now you see. Now we get the dot to do and the object inside of it. So that was the problem we were having over here, where we just did. We should have just, if you want to leave it like that, just get rid of this and just put res.body.text. But I actually want to do. Okay, this is how we're going to be doing it from now on. Sorry about that, guys. That was a simple mistake. My bad. But we do have it successfully running now. I'm going to get rid of this. And we're going to start our mocha. All right. Next is we're going to have to test for the 404. So it's still going to be in our describe block. So we're going to just space it down twice. And we're going to do 404. The to do is not found. Okay. So it's going to be it. We're going to describe what this one should do. Should return 404 if to do is not found. Okay. Now everything in here is the same or done. We're going to request the app. We're going to get, and before we do that, we do need to set up a hex ID because we do need to give it an ID to pass in. And it's going to be a new ID because the 404 stands for, it is a valid ID, but we do not see it in the database. So we're going to just create a new hex ID or a new object ID, should I say. So var hex ID is going to equal new object ID dot to hex string. All right, now in here we could actually use a template string because we're going to be using that hex. It's going to be /to-dos /colon, and then we're going to pass it in our, not the colon, sorry, we're going to pass it in the hex. So hex ID, and then we're gonna expect We're gonna spec a status code of a 404. And that's it. That's all we have to do for this one. End and pass it in. Done. Now you're gonna see over here that it's gonna pass, but we're still gonna it's actually failing. We got a 400 bad request. Let's see why. We did pass it in hex.id. We got to dos. We expect, let me see over here. What did we send in as over here? We did send in a 404 because it is a valid ID. So, oh, that's why. Forgetting the parentheses here. So control save that. Now you should get everything passing. And then we're going to create another one, a test unit for a 404, but that's not an object ID. Okay, so it should return 404 for non-object IDs. So we're going to request app. We're going to get this time we're going to just enter a string. Oops. Slash to dos slash, and you can put whatever you want in here. I'm going to just put 1 2 3 ABC. Dot expect. We expect a 400 to come back, or a 404, and that's it. We're gonna end it right there. End. Done. Control save that. You should see all 5 passing. Oh well, we get all 6, and we get a 404 again. Let's see what's going on here. Control. Should return 404 for non-object IDs. Expected 404, but found got 400. Let's see why. Actually, yeah, we should expect a 400 because over here, I'm sorry guys, over here we did say if it's not a valid ID, then you want to send a 400. That's actually correct. So it's actually a 400 that we should be sending in. Thank you, Mocha. So now you get all 6 passing. And guys, that is it for this video. We have created a get by ID route. We also did test units for this. And I'm sorry guys, I thought we were going to have time to actually deploy it to Heroku, but I guess that would be at the end of the video, as in I guess in the end of this application. Once we have all the application done with this, all the routes done, then we'll deploy it on Heroku. So sorry about that, but we're not going to be able to do that today. I was looking at the time and I'm pretty much over. So guys, thank you so much for watching. If you haven't subscribed, please consider subscribing, and please like or dislike and comment down below on what you think about the videos. So thank you again guys, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks.